So I have never taken a photography class in my life, and in my opinion I'm a much better photographer for it. So yeah, my name is Christian Eustace and welcome back to my photography channel. Everything that I know myself, I actually never went on a course. I learned everything through YouTube, picking up a camera and using it on a daily basis. So all of these factors in themselves have made me a much better photographer. That being said, I am not saying that photography courses aren't great. If you like the photographer, they're offering something fairly unique, they're giving you a lighting tutorial and all of this sort of stuff that, you just really like their style, and that's basically how you're going to achieve something like this, then yes, I would say that that is genuinely a good course to kind of go down. But as an introductory to photography, I don't feel that you have enough control over your camera, enough know-how about how lighting works, how reflection, diffusion, and the how light bounces off, and how it kind of dissipates over the distance. So all of this information is completely readily available on YouTube and completely for free before you actually need to kind of start thinking about a course for either post-production using Photoshop, Capture One. These are all very in-depth software technical things that you're not going to find everything that you need to use on YouTube. But I have to admit, you are going to get 90 to 95% of the way there. That extra 5%, which does separate out quite a lot of the exceptional photographers you see. Yeah, sometimes you might have to do a course, but you're going to get so close to where you want to be without anything paid. And let's get into this. Let's have a look at a couple of options and talk about this today. So here's the real truth that nobody in photography education is actually going to tell you. You can read every single book, watch every single tutorial, complete all of the coursework that is assigned to you, but unless you pick up your camera on a regular basis, you're not going to improve as a photographer. You might understand the base concepts, the exposure rules, the rule of thirds, the Fibonacci sequence, but unless you're picking up your camera and shooting regularly, all of this is just information, and information that isn't put into practice isn't going to benefit you in any way. So really think about picking up your camera, getting outside on a daily basis, a bi-daily basis. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, but take those photos, experiment with your different settings, put it on manual and see why your 35mm at 1.4 is so different to your 24 at 1.4. Look at the depth of focus and all of these sorts of things. Just make sure that you're following your basic principles, which you can learn on YouTube like this, in the comfort of your own home without spending a penny. So I just want to be a little bit specific, because quite a lot of people who are getting introduced to photography can get overwhelmed. There are a few things that you need to learn. You need to learn your exposure triangle, how it works, and how to make those three things just kind of work together. I've done some videos on this, I'll link them here, just so that you can actually just have a quick review of these very important facts. You need your basic composition principles like we discussed earlier, your rule of thirds, Fibonacci, and then your V's, and you can research all of this, and I'm going to probably do a video on this one as well, because I think this is very important, about how to draw the attention of your viewer to the subject that you're trying to take a photo of. And the other principles are basically of how light works, because this is the single most important thing when taking a photo. Light hitting a subject different shadows, and your dynamic range. These are all very important because you can play with negative space, you can play with the minimalism, and you can play the darks of the lights and the contrast. All of these are very important, and if you don't get the right exposure at the start, you can end up with muddy files where the colors in your files just aren't quite there because your signal strength when taking that photo, you just didn't quite get what you needed. And if you're working professionally, this is something that's so important, and you're not going to get hired again if you're missing that important detail at the important time. So to get your light right, let's just tack on a few different things. You have artificial light, both LEDs and flash. They work in different ways, so make sure you know how they work before you actually get involved. LEDs are very good for video work and for making sure that when you're actually taking a photo, what you as a photographer sees is pretty much what you're taking in camera, meaning that your raw files can actually look quite similar to that file right at the end. It also helps with your autofocus. But flash, you're freezing that motion. You've got that split second. So there is different elements that you can kind of capture with that, and you're not so restricted in other ways. A combination of the two again is actually probably one of my favorite things. You've got best of both worlds. You can focus really easily, and you can blur motion, but you can also capture that really sharp flash, like microsecond, that actually is required in quite a lot of high fashion, sports, and all of this sort of thing, just to give you that really campaign ready feel from a shot. I do want to be very specific here because I'm not completely dismissing paid education. Paid education means that someone has gone away, thought through about specifically what you as a customer really wants to find out, and they have put together a very comprehensive course. And for a few different things, I would say that a well-educated professional in this environment is going to give you genuinely valuable information. And this can compress time if that is something that you're concerned about, because yes, you might be able to teach all of yourself this stuff online, but that might just take a lot longer. A course might be a lot more compressed, and you get your questions fed back to you a lot quicker, and the feedback can be a lot more in depth. So I am not dismissing paid education from genuine professionals who know what they are talking about. Lighting, color grading, and retouching, yes, but retouching can also be a style. Retouching and how to use different aspects of the programs and how best to apply that to your work, I think is a very fundamental thing, and something that you may never find online. So these are very important, and some people arrange shoots and courses and weeks away where they put you in situations that you yourself might not actually be able to put yourself in, especially as early photographers. Even if you've got a nicely developed portfolio and someone else is like just taking a nice couple of people away for a weekend, costs a few grand, but you're being exposed to beautiful models, beautiful scenery, and everything is a little bit inclusive. It takes away the organization and all of these things that can take a lot of mental capacity, time, energy, effort, and just simplifies that process. So sometimes paid education is vital, and it is up to you to decide if you're ready for that paid education, because yes, there's so much information free online. You want to make sure you get the most value for what you're actually paying for. Do you need a photography course? In my opinion, probably not. You can learn everything that you need to know for free online. But as I have literally just said, there are caveats, and they are going to potentially teach you some information you didn't have, expose you to things that you may not have been able to organize yourself. They might teach you about lighting, and they might be from someone who is genuinely an expert in their field and will give you valuable information that's just not really available on the open internet. So if it is the right course for you, it fits with your schedule, your budget, and the amount of time that you have available, I would say it's a great investment, and you can meet some like-minded people and get to use their equipment. So you might shoot on a Sony, but this person has X amount of different Leicas, Canons, and everything in between. You want to experiment on Polaroids and do some different kind of post-processing work. All of these are great things that you can learn from someone else who might have a wealth of experience, and you can end up with friends for life from this sort of thing as well. So yes, photography courses are genuinely great. But if you are just starting out, or you can find this information on YouTube, this is what I would suggest. This is what I have done, and in my opinion, I don't think that I could have actually gained a huge amount more from courses, but courses are something that I'm thinking about going on now, based on the fact that I have got a great foundation in photography, the technicality, how to use a camera, how to talk to my models, how to do everything other than socialize with other photographers and do this sort of thing. This is where I feel I would benefit the most, and work with people who I have genuinely followed from the start of my career, and just see how they do their process, how they take photos, how they light their scenes. This is all very interesting. Yes, you can guess at what they do, but being told by the person and having all your questions answered at the time is genuinely valuable information, and I think could take your photography to the next level. So I just want to know, have you ever taken a photography course? Did it help you? Did you like it? Because this is very interesting for me. If you do and have done and really enjoyed it, or you hated it, please leave a comment. Let's have a discussion about this, so that everybody else learns a little bit and we can all get better at what we're doing.